lies told to me, I had enough. All of the tricks and deceit, I had enough. Back up on off from me, I had enough. Label me as angry, I had enough. All the lies told to me, I had enough. All of the tricks and deceit, I had enough. Back up on off from me, I had enough. Label me as angry. What's up, YouTube family? It's your boy Big Ant checking in with you. Today's topic of discussion is Quando Rondo's response to Big U. Let's unpack this real quick, y'all. A lot of background and history before I get started on what my opinion is with this information. Many of you know, but for those of you that don't know, Quando Rondo is a young, up-and-coming rapper. I won't even say he's up-and-coming because he is actually pretty successful. Many of you know the incident that happened in Atlanta a couple of months ago where, due to an altercation with him and some other folks whose names I won't mention, a young man ended up losing his life that night. A young man, prominent, loved member of the Chicago community. And since that time, it's been very apparent that Quando Rondo had a lot of light shined on him in the streets. And we all know that lights getting shined on you in the streets is not a positive thing. So I say all that to say this: for that period of time since then, this young man, Quando Rondo, has kind of been dealing with a lot of pressure in those streets. And apparently, over the weekend, he created a response video to Big U about some comments that were made on the Breakfast Club about him checking in. For those of you who don't know who Big U is a very prominent and loved member of the Los Angeles community, preferably the Crenshaw district. A brother who's been in the streets previously in a past life, and a brother who's doing a lot in the music industry, the entertainment industry, involved with youth sports. So definitely a prominent love figure in the Los Angeles community. So how do these two connect? Quando Rondo is a young, up-and-coming rapper from Georgia. Big U is a prominent member of the Crenshaw district, the LA community. How do these two connect? So let's unpack that. So many of you know, and I'm not gonna get fully into it. I'm from Los Angeles, California, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. But this young man, Quando Rondo, allegedly, and we'll say in air quotes, allegedly, is a Crip. Allegedly claims Rolling 60s, which is a prominent and very notorious Los Angeles gang. Allegedly a gang that Big U was formerly associated with. We all know when I say formerly, that doesn't mean gone. Those ties never leave you, whether you doing positive or negative in the community. Those ties never leave you. So that's always going to be associated with who the brother Big U is. But that's where their connection is. So Quando Rondo is a kid from Georgia claiming Rolling 60s, and Big U is a man who was from the Los Angeles area where Rolling 60s Crip was originated back in late 70s, early 80s. So apparently Big U is on the Breakfast Club promoting a new TV series that's come out about prominent figures in the hip hop community that have kind of flown under the radar, which he definitely is that. And at that time, he starts to talk about youngsters and their respect for their elders and checking in. And the topic comes up about Quando Rondo reaching out to him randomly after all the trouble that he's been getting in with what happened a couple of months ago with the young man who lost his life in Chicago. So Big U takes exception to that call because this young man, Quando Rondo, apparently previously had never checked in, even though he had the man's contact information. Here's where this actually unpacks. So we know Big U is affiliated with 60s, and we know Quando Rondo is affiliated with 60s. So obviously in that type of culture with those type of affiliations, when you're a young man, it is your duty and your obligation to check in with your elders. Now, I'm not saying that it's a duty and an obligation of all of us to check in with our elders. That's something that every young man should do, is have what they call today an OG, check in with, get some knowledge and perspective on life from. But when you're a part of subset of the community, which is gangs, it's an obligation. So this young man wasn't doing his duty and checking in with a very prominent figure of the organization that he claims to be a part of, and a man who is a very, very prominent main figure in that organization took exception with it. So is that right? Is that wrong? Should Quando Rondo have been checking in with Big U and speaking with him respectfully, getting knowledge and understanding from the man as a big brother on a regular basis? Was it wrong for him to call up when trouble's on the horizon? I want to hear from y'all what your thought process is on that. I'm not glorifying gangs. I'm not saying that gangs are right or wrong, or mentorship within gangs is right or wrong, but we definitely do know that that is a part of the world that we live in. That's a part of reality that goes on in these streets from the time of the 70s all the way up until now. It is a reality. So let's talk about it. Let's get your opinion on what you think, who you think is right and who you think is wrong. Personally, my opinion, and that's if you're asking for my opinion, which I believe you are, because you checked in today and clicked on the video. Understanding who Big U is, this brother made his bones in the Los Angeles community back in late 70s, early 80s. Everybody who grew up in that time period knows it was a very hectic, very violent, very treacherous time. And if you were making your bones during that time and you're still alive today, you got a whole lot of experience. You got a whole lot to tell. And that is who Big U is. This brother has experienced everything from the violence on the streets to prison, and the violence in prison, to being paroled and picking himself up and transforming into something else. So understandably so, he has knowledge and wisdom and understanding that he wants to impart to the young boys trying to follow the path that he did. And I think that's where this brother was coming from, was, you claim, you in Georgia, and you claim to be from my section. Why don't I hear from you? Why haven't you checked in? Why are you calling me now? I don't want to be used when a problem comes up. I want to be a mentor and shed my light and experience on you at all times. So I feel that he was right in outing the young brother. Don't pick up a phone when you have a problem. Pick up a phone and show somebody you care. You're trying to be a part of an organization that this man built on his back. A part of an organization that this man built through tears, blood, sweat, and loss of friends, loss of family, and not glorifying anything that Big U was a part of and did, but it's an obvious fact that he is a part of something that Quando Rondo is claiming to be a part of. So when you join an organization, you have obligations, and one of those obligations is to check in, youngster. So the fact that he hadn't been checking in, and the fact that now he has an entire city on his head and he's calling up, that's a problem. That's disrespectful. I can understand that from Big U's perspective. Obviously, Quando Rondo didn't see it that way from the video, which I'll show you guys. He claims that he wasn't calling to get assistance with any type of problems or any type of issues, and that he was more interested in trying to find out how to be a philanthropist. I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. A brother like Big U been around the block a couple times. He's wise enough to know what somebody else's intentions are, and I actually agree with him. Was it right for Big U to call him out the way that he did? Hey, he's a public figure. Quando Rondo is a public figure. That's all these kids respect now, is social media and outing folks. So that's what he did, and I actually don't have an issue with that. I actually understand where the brother is coming from. I think youth nowadays have lost the importance of having an OG, having somebody to gain experience and knowledge and wisdom from. Our OGs, most of the times, they don't mix their words. They can be annoying sometimes when they telling you where you wrong and telling you where you messed up. Sometimes you don't want to hear where you've messed up. Sometimes it's very hard to look in the mirror, and that's what an OG will force you to do. But a real OG will always tell you the truth. Sometimes young folks don't want to hear that, especially nowadays. So he needed to be outed. Don't pick up a phone privately, call somebody for help when you're still running around in these streets doing things that are not to your benefit and are to your detriment. So I actually agree with Big U here. Quando Rondo, I wish the best for that young man. I don't have any bad words to say about the young man personally. It's obvious he's successful right now in pursuing his career, so you have to respect that in a young man. You have to respect his hustle and his grind and the fact that he's made a name for himself. He is definitely in a lot of trouble right now. And I don't think that trouble's going to go away anytime soon, because the young man who lost his life has loved ones that I don't think are going to let that drop. So definitely he needs guidance, and he needs some type of direction from somebody older than him that understands the correct way to move. And I definitely think, though, he should have been seeking that guidance a whole lot sooner than when all of this stuff came crashing down on his head. But that's my opinion, family. You guys tell me what your thought process is, what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? All comments, all opinions are respected as long as we are respectful. So y'all comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace. I had enough. All the lies told to me. I had enough. All of the tricks and deceit. I had enough. Back up on off of me. I had enough. Label me as angry. I had enough. All the lies told to me. I had enough. All of the tricks and deceit. I had enough. Back up on off of me. I had enough. Label me as angry.